Obviously a tough one. Basketball gods have a funny way of evening things up. I'm not sure we deserve to pull out that crazy win in Westchester against New York, and probably deserve this one in some aspects down the stretch. But that's basketball, and a lot of learning lessons for us throughout the game tonight, trying to infuse two very important players back into the lineup, and then back to the quandrum of what combinations are playing well with each other and who isn't. But learning lesson. That last play, next to last play, you're up 3. It's a no help, no double, no 3-point possession, and our teammates are so programmed. They saw a player fall down, and they naturally instinct was to go help, and therefore then left a wide open 3-point shooter to tie the game. And you feel awful for that decision. But it's how you're programmed for 39 minutes to play when you see a teammate fall down to help. And so we made a mistake there, and then I don't think we defended the out of bounds play poorly, but credit to Zellous, big shot to win the game at the buzzer.
Curt, that's an ugly stat line for JJ. Are you starting to get concerned that this just might not be her year, and do you have any idea on how to get her back to her form?
Yeah, the hardest part is combination of what and who she plays best with. Chene, for a significant part of the season, has led the WNBA in field goal percentage. Chene is a talented player around the rim. So that forces, when they play together, JJ perimeter oriented more. So sometimes when she doesn't have some things going on the perimeter, it's not always the best combination. And without training camp, without practice opportunities in this condensed season, those are things hard to figure out. She had a great year when AT's been the facilitator. But when AT misses, the chunk that she misses, you also don't get JJ to be able to get minutes with Alyssa Thomas. So then the hard part is that if you're playing one of those two with Alyssa, one of them's on the bench, and who's having a better game, who's impacting the game on the boards or defensively more, and now you have a talented player on the bench. And so it's difficult. And then Morgan's played well as of late with AT gone, but we're so much better with AT on the floor. She facilitates and does so much for us, makes everybody better on the floor. And she's a dependable defensive enforcer, rebounder. So then it steals minutes from Morgan, who has played well with JJ in stretches. So that impacts JJ. So it's hard with a season. You never get to practice. It's hard when you have adversity and you have injuries and people are coming and going, and you did not have people together in training camp when you get your best practice. And I said, this late into the season, we're still struggling to find the right matchups at times when we goal on lulls. And it's my job to figure that out, but it's their job to try to be efficient with whoever the combination is on the floor.
Did that also impact Jasmine tonight, do you feel? She didn't really do much there in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, I thought she managed the game early, but it was hard. I mean, they shelled the lane. They barely guarded us outside of 15 feet, anyone. And we did not shoot the 3 well. And they guarded some of the people that do shoot the 3 well a little bit harder. But basically, they begged us to make 15 to 17 footers tonight. And not until the fourth quarter did we get Jazz to the rim. So we finally got Jazz to the rim, and you know, it was hard. They even that last play, they really cushioned her and said, you know, if you can make a deep two or a step back three, we're just going to really cushion you and make you make a tough shot.
You mentioned, you know, finding combinations during lulls. Have you found yourself this season trying to figure out just which buttons to push, which player to go with throughout the game? You know, what works?
Yeah, and we talked about this before, and shared this with multiple people before the game. It's fantastic in some ways to have really good 9, 10, 11, and 12. But in this league, you win 1 through 8. And when 10, 11, and 12 are close or nearly comparable to 3 and 4, it creates an interesting dynamic in this league. And New York and us are both going through it. Both of us are really deep. There's not much separation between the 3rd and 4th best players on the team and the 9th, 10th, 11, and 12. So it creates a dynamic of who do you play, and are you pushing the right buttons, and you know what combinations are working. And sometimes it puts in doubt in the players because 10, 11, and 12 view themselves confidently and don't see much difference than 3. And so they want to play more. And when they don't, then they get frustrated. And I think you see that both in New York and Connecticut, that we're both really deep teams, but there's not much difference you know, between players. So you're always searching and trying to push the right buttons, and you don't always get it done.
Is it surprising this late in the season to you that you're still trying to figure everything out?
Not with everything we've been through.
No.
With the training camp, with people coming late, but more than anything is we're a very preparation-driven team, and we just don't get that preparation. Tonight is the first night we've played a game in a long time with 2 days prep, and our record when we have 2 days prep is outstanding in my tenure here. And you know, we don't lose very often when we have multiple day prep, and we were close to not, you know, getting to the finish line tonight, but this is a stretch now of games that we pulled out the LA game, but we left a couple other really close games and didn't get to the finish line. And that's the difference between you know, a comfortable playoff team than teams that are scratching and clawing for the playoffs. Is you lose some close games.
Are you at a point now, can you do this where you know, you're saying teams win with their top 8? Can you right now say, here's our 8, this is what we're going with, and everybody else, you're just gonna have to, you know what I mean? Or is it, are you too deep where you can't do that?
No, it's certainly an approach you can look at. At the same time, you know, I think all options are on the table, and we're finally getting in a stretch where we'll have more home games, so we'll have more routine, we'll have more practice, we'll have more prep in for games, and so, you know, we'll take a look at who's not just producing during games, but who's producing and what lineups are working in practice.
There's something like tonight where, you know, you finally get a listen for tonight, and you finally get home after the road trip from hell. This result just go, okay, what do we need here? What is it going to take to get out of this?
Yeah, I just think it's a collective group effort. It's no one thing, it's no one person. It's not just the coaching staff, it's not just the players. You know, this is what happens in the WNBA season, and you go through stretches like this. But the quicker that we can get back to playing better basketball and get wins, will cure a lot of ills. So we're just going to keep grinding. It certainly doesn't get easier. We play a lot of teams upcoming in the standings that are ahead of us, and so we've got to be able to try to knock a team off like that that's coming into this building.
Do you have a sense of what's been behind the unpredictability this year across the league? I mean, has it been more condensed schedule, more talent being closer?
I just think there's great parity. There's not a lot of preparation time, so you just play. So the unpredictability of who's healthy, who is fresher, who's had a little less travel, who's a little less banged up. It's just really, really hard this season. You've got to put things behind you and move forward. It's always the next one, the next one, the next one. You barely have time to go back and correct things that you want to correct because you're on to the next team, and what do we have to do to prepare for their great players? You got to prepare for their productive, efficient plays. What do we need to do against their type of defense? And it varies from night to night. So it's really hard to go back and fix things when you're constantly moving forward to the next task at hand.